The courtroom froze the moment he swaggered in. Badge-adjacent confidence, chin lifted like the world owed him respect. "The rules don't apply to me," the sheriff's son whispered to his buddy, loud enough for the gallery to hear. Judge Judy's eyes rose slowly, the air tightening as if the walls themselves were waiting. Then he smirked. "You can't touch me." The smile faded when the door behind him clicked shut. "And what happened next will leave you stunned. But before we dive in, tell me, where are you watching from? Don't forget the subscribe button." The echo of his last words, "You can't touch me," still trembled in the quiet air as the courtroom door thudded shut behind him. His swagger didn't just enter the room. It tried to take ownership of it. And for a moment, every pair of eyes followed him the way one watches a flame getting too close to spilled gasoline. The sheriff's son, Tyler Dane, walked with the kind of confidence that didn't come from merit, but from years of people stepping aside before he even asked. His boots hit the floor with an entitled rhythm, each step an announcement that he believed this space belonged to him. Judge Judy didn't speak, didn't blink. She watched him through a narrow slit of measured patience, the kind that could slice arrogance cleaner than any blade. The camera panned over to the plaintiff, Luis Herrera, a delivery driver with tired eyes and a posture shaped by long shifts and even longer silences. He clutched a stack of photos like they were bruises he'd rehearsed showing the world. "State your claim," Judy said, her voice sharp enough to cut through Tyler's smirk. Luis stepped forward. "Your Honor, he blocked my truck in an alley. I asked him to move, but Luis swallowed. He started yelling, said he didn't have to move for nobody. Then he kicked my bumper." Tyler scoffed loudly, tossing his head back. "Oh, please, it was a tap. Maybe if he didn't drive a tin can, it wouldn't have dented." Light murmurs spread across the room like ripples after a stone drop. The bailiff, Bert, shot Tyler a warning look. Tyler winked back. Judge Judy's gaze slowly pivoted toward him. "You find this amusing?" He shrugged. "I find this pointless. I mean, come on, my dad runs the county. We could have handled this at home." "And yet," Judy replied, "here you are, in my courtroom." The gallery stifled laughter. Tyler didn't. Luis handed over the photos, clear shots of the crushed metal and the narrow alleyway. Judge Judy studied them with that razor attention she wielded better than any gavel. "This doesn't look like a tap," she said without looking up. Tyler leaned forward, elbows on the podium, casual in a way that bordered on insulting. "Maybe the angle's weird. You know how cameras are." "Cameras," Judy replied dryly, "do not fabricate physics." Tyler rolled his eyes, a slow, exaggerated arc intended to show how little respect he thought this room deserved. For the first time, Judy's expression shifted. Not anger, but interest. The kind she saved for people digging their own graves without realizing there wasn't enough dirt to cover their mistakes. "Are you done interrupting?" she asked. He smirked. "I'll let you know." The gallery gasped softly, the sound of a tension wire snapping. Judge Judy leaned in, elbows on the bench, her eyes narrowing to two precise judicial points. Her voice dropped to a calm, dangerous whisper. "Young man, are you finished digging that hole, or should I hand you a bigger shovel?" Tyler's grin hadn't fully faded when the courtroom shifted. Not loudly, not visibly, but subtly, like the air itself decided it was done carrying his arrogance. Judge Judy straightened a single page on her desk, and with that small motion, the balance of the room tilted away from him. The camera drops into a slow pan across Tyler's face, still smug, but now with the faintest tightening around the jaw. He leans back, arms crossed, clearly expecting this whole ordeal to fold the moment he flexes his last name. Judge Judy ignores his posture completely. "Mr. Herrera, show me the invoices." Luis steps forward again, his voice steadier than before. "These are from the shop that repaired the bumper, and these show the 2 days I couldn't work while the van was in the shop." Tyler laughs, a short, sharp burst meant to draw attention. 2 days? For that tiny dent? He's milking this. Judy's head tilts slightly. "Do you have mechanical credentials, sir?" "What?" Tyler blinks. "It's a simple question. Are you a mechanic?" He frowns. "No, but then you're not qualified to comment on repair time." The gallery lets out a soft, appreciative murmur. Tyler's ego flickers like a flame exposed to wind. Luis hands the photos to the bailiff. As they reach Judy, the papers rustle with a gravity that Tyler can't laugh away. She examines the timestamps, the angles, the damage. "Mr. Dane," she says slowly, "explain to me why the damage is on the front of the bumper if you claim you barely touched it with your foot." Tyler shifts. "Well, maybe the camera angle. There are 4 angles." "Okay, well, maybe he already had the dent and just—" Luis turns to him, quietly but firmly. "I take care of that van. It's how I feed my kids." The words hit harder than anything Judy has said. Even Tyler seems briefly thrown, his mouth opening but no sound coming out. Judy presses on. "You said earlier that you tapped the bumper. Now you're suggesting the damage pre-existed. Which is it?" Tyler tries for his old swagger. It lands hollow. "Look, I don't keep track of every little thing. The guy's exaggerating." "Exaggerating," Judy repeats as if tasting the word. "Yet he has documentation. Witness statements and photographs. What do you have?" "My word," Tyler says, lifting his chin proudly. "And your word," Judy replies, "contradicts itself every 30 seconds." The gallery reacts, not loudly, but with that unmistakable ripple when someone realizes the floor beneath them is cracking. Tyler looks toward his friend in the gallery for support. The friend doesn't return the look. He stares forward, hands clasped, face tight. For the first time, Tyler's confidence slips enough to show the fear beneath. Judge Judy reaches calmly for a file at her side. The lighting seems to shift with her movement, bright overheads dimming just slightly, as though the moment deserves a more dramatic stage. She lifts the document without opening it. Her eyes lock onto Tyler with surgical sharpness. "Mr. Dane," she says, "perhaps you can explain something else. The supplemental statement you didn't think we'd read." The moment Judge Judy lifted the supplemental statement, the air tightened. Tyler's smirk didn't vanish all at once. It cracked, hairline thin, like the first fissure in glass before it shatters. Judge Judy places the document flat on the bench with deliberate calm. The camera cuts to a close-up of Tyler's face, eyes narrowing, throat shifting with a swallow he tries to hide. His confidence isn't gone, but something inside him has started looking for exits. "Mr. Dane," Judy begins, tapping the corner of the page, "you signed this, correct?" Tyler squints. "I signed something. They shoved a lot of papers at me." Judy raises an eyebrow. "We don't shove anything here. You had time, you had clarity, you had a pen." The gallery lets out a soft ripple, the kind of sound people make when they sense someone about to be caught in their own net. Luis stands quietly, hands clasped, eyes lowered. The image of someone who's lived his entire life playing by rules, others bend without consequence. In contrast, Tyler shifts from one foot to the other, trying to look unfazed and failing. Judy finally reads from the document. "I, Tyler Dane, blocked the plaintiff's vehicle due to a personal disagreement and refused to move when asked." Her voice lands like a series of precise blows. The courtroom absorbs each one. Tyler jolts forward. "Wait, that's not how I meant it. They twisted." "You wrote it?" Judy cuts in your handwriting." "Well, yeah, but that's not the full story." Luis looks up, wounded disbelief in his expression. "How is that not the story?" Tyler swings toward him. "Because you're acting like this was a big deal. It wasn't. You freaked out over nothing." "Nothing?" Luis whispers. "You told me you'd make sure I regretted calling anyone." Judy's eyes sharpen. "You said that?" Tyler freezes, a beat too long. "I didn't say it like that." "What exactly did you say?" Judy presses, leaning forward, voice low and controlled. The type of quiet that replaces shouting. More focused, more dangerous. Tyler flounders. I said he shouldn't waste people's time, and that he didn't know who he was messing with." The courtroom goes still. Judy repeats softly, "Didn't know who he was messing with." The bailiff shifts, stepping subtly closer. Tyler notices, and a thread of panic flickers in his eyes. Judy lifts another sheet from the file. "This second page, unsigned, details the plaintiff's recollection of your words. You refuse to sign it. Do you deny threatening him?" Tyler's mouth opens, then clamps shut. Rage and fear war across his face, neither winning cleanly. Judy watches him, her silence louder than any accusation. "Mr. Dane," she says at last, "you're running out of versions of this story." The camera zooms slowly, framing Tyler as if the walls are narrowing around him. He forces a laugh, brittle, desperate. "These statements, they don't mean anything." Judy slides the papers toward the bailiff. "Then you won't mind," she says, "if we move on to the next one." The rustle of the next document was different, heavier, like it carried the weight of something Tyler never planned to face. His eyes tracked it with the nervous intensity of someone watching a fuse burn toward a hidden explosive. Judge Judy lays the new page flat on the bench. The camera shifts to a low angle, capturing Tyler's tightening grip on the podium. His knuckles blanch, a subtle fracture in his armor of arrogance. "Mr. Dane," Judy begins, "this is your signed admission that you blocked the truck, different from the earlier statement, more direct, more detailed." Tyler lets out a forced laugh. "Oh, come on, that was just me trying to get the paperwork moving. They pushed me to—" "No one pushes you here," Judy interrupts, tone clipped. "You pushed yourself into this." The courtroom responds with a collective inhale, the kind that says he walked into that one. Judy continues, "Not only did you block the path intentionally, you also admitted, right here, that you weren't in the mood to be told what to do." Tyler's face reddens. "Everyone gets annoyed. You can't judge me on—" "That's exactly what I'm here to do," the gallery murmurs, energized by Judy's precision. Luis watches quietly, shoulders rising and falling with the slow breath of someone who's waited too long to be believed. Tyler tries to pivot. "Look, my dad would have handled it. This whole thing doesn't need to be—" "Your father," Judy says without raising her voice, "is irrelevant to this proceeding." The sentence lands with surgical force. Tyler's bravado flickers like a dying bulb. For the first time, he looks genuinely lost, not because he lacks answers, but because his usual shield of inherited authority has no power here. Judy taps the document again. "You signed this. You understood it. And now you're contradicting it." Tyler's voice spikes. "Because you're twisting it. That paper doesn't tell the whole story." "Then by all means," Judy replies, leaning back, "enlighten me." The bait hangs in the air. Tyler doesn't take it. Instead, he leans back, arms crossed, breathing shallow. He's cornered, and the courtroom can feel it. The air thickens, slow and cinematic, as if the lighting itself dims under the weight of his unraveling confidence. Judy doesn't let a second pass. "Your signed admission is evidence, clear, concise, and consistent with the plaintiff's account. Your testimony is not." Tyler's jaw clenches. "This is ridiculous." "No," Judy says. "This is accountability." Then, a sudden movement. The bailiff steps toward the bench and places a sealed envelope beside Judy's right hand. The room tenses. Judy lifts it with 2 fingers, the seal unbroken, the weight of whatever's inside shifting the mood instantly. Tyler's eyes widen. What is that?" Judy studies him, expression unreadable. "Something submitted moments ago." Luis looks confused. Tyler looks terrified. The camera pushes in, capturing the moment Judy slides a thumb under the flap. She looks up at Tyler, eyes sharp as glass. "Mr. Dane, you may want to brace yourself." The envelope opened with a soft tear, but the reaction it triggered was anything but soft. Tyler stiffened as Judge Judy's eyes scanned the note, her expression shifting just enough to signal that whatever she was reading had teeth. For a long, heavy beat, Judy says nothing. She simply folds the note once, then once more, as though compressing its impact into something denser, sharper. The gallery leans in, breath held. Even Luis, who has weathered this entire ordeal with quiet patience, looks unsettled. Tyler can't help himself. "What is that? You can't just—" "I can," Judy says, "and I will." Her tone slices clean through his protest. She taps the folded note lightly against the bench. "This," she finally says, "is a statement from someone inside your father's department." The reaction is instant, an audible ripple of disbelief sweeping through the courtroom. Tyler's eyes widen. From the department? No, this has to be a mistake." Luis's eyebrows lift slightly. The bailiff, Bert, steps closer, folding his hands behind his back in that quiet, authoritative way that signals things are shifting. Judge Judy continues, calm but unyielding. "The person who submitted this note claims you have been warned before about misusing your father's authority. warned more than once. Tyler's breath catches. His face flashes red, then pale, then something between the two. Warned? Warned. That's... someone's lying. That has to be someone with a grudge, probably that rookie who... Judy holds up a hand. He stops instantly, as if an invisible command froze him mid-sentence. You will not speculate about their identity, she says. What matters is the content, and the fact that someone within your father's own department believed this information needed to be brought to light. The gallery murmurs again, louder this time, the sound buzzing like low voltage under the fluorescent courtroom lights. Luis glances toward Tyler with a mixture of pity and vindication. Maybe, he says softly. People are tired of being pushed around. Tyler shoots him a glare. Stay out of this. Judy redirects all attention with a single piercing look. Mr. Dane, your behavior today aligns disturbingly well with the pattern described in this note. He shakes his head, voice cracking. You can't just believe some anonymous paper over me. Anonymous? Judy lifts a brow. Who said they were anonymous? Tyler freezes. The courtroom goes utterly still. A soft creak breaks the silence, the sound of the side door opening. Every head turns. A uniformed figure steps inside, not a full police uniform, department-adjacent attire, the kind worn by administrative officers or deputies off duty. Their posture is steady, expression firm, eyes fixed directly on Tyler. His friend in the gallery lets out a quiet, horrified breath. Tyler whispers, "No, no, they wouldn't." Judge Judy sets the note aside and looks toward the newcomer. "Thank you for coming," she says. "Please step forward." The insider witness takes a single step into the courtroom, and Tyler's last shred of confidence shatters like dropped glass. The insider's shoes clicked softly against the floor as they approached the stand, but to Tyler, the sound might as well have been thunder. Every step collapsed another piece of the false fortress he'd built around himself. The witness, Officer Rena Caldwell, mid-30s, steady eyes, the kind of composure forged by long nights and harder decisions, stands with her hands folded neatly in front of her. She nods at Judge Judy, then glances briefly at Luis with quiet empathy. When her gaze reaches Tyler, however, it sharpens. Judy gestures. "Officer Caldwell, you submitted the note?" "I did, Your Honor." "And the information within it is accurate?" "Yes." No hesitation, no cracks, just truth, delivered cleanly. Tyler recoils. "Oh, come on, Rena! You're seriously doing this? You know my dad." She cuts him off, voice calm, almost gentle. "I know your father has tried to help you more times than he should have." A wave of murmurs sweeps across the gallery. Louder, bolder now. People lean forward, hungry for honesty in a room where arrogance had spoken too loudly for too long. Tyler shakes his head violently. "You're lying. You've always hated me." "I don't hate you," she says. "I pity you, because you've never learned that consequences apply to you too." Judy lifts a finger. "Mr. Dane, you will not interrupt this testimony again." The bailiff steps closer, just in case. Officer Caldwell continues. 3 separate complaints were filed about him using his father's position to intimidate civilians. In each case, he was reprimanded verbally. He was told the next incident would result in formal discipline. Luis's eyes widen. 3? Tyler snaps. "Those were misunderstandings." Judy fires back instantly. "Are you calling the officer's statements false?" "I'm calling them blown out of proportion." "But not false?" He hesitates, and the hesitation is fatal. Judy leans back satisfied. "That answers my question." The camera catches Tyler's friend in the gallery shrinking into his seat, hands clasped so tightly his knuckles whiten. Even he can no longer pretend this is defensible. Officer Caldwell finishes. He believes the badge protects him, even though it isn't his. Even though his father repeatedly warned him to stop. Judy nods once. "Thank you, officer." She turns her full attention to Tyler, the lighting seeming to narrow into a spotlight over his unraveling composure. "Mr. Dane," she says, "this behavior isn't arrogance, it's a pattern, a dangerous one." He starts to speak, a protest, a plea, something in between, but his voice cracks, betraying him. I didn't mean for it to get this far." Luis, quiet until now, answers softly. "It always gets this far when no one stops you." The courtroom absorbs the line like a collective exhale of truth. Judge Judy's gaze sharpens, steel wrapped in certainty. Is there anything you want to correct before I proceed? Tyler looks around. To Judy, to Luis, to Officer Caldwell, to the gallery. But every face reflects the same truth. His father can't save him. His confidence won't shield him. His story no longer controls the room. His mouth opens, but no words come out. Judy lifts her gavel slightly, not to strike, but to signal the weight of what comes next. Choose carefully, Mr. Dane. Your next sentence may be the only honest one you've spoken today. If you were standing in that courtroom, would you give him one last chance, or let his own behavior seal his fate? For a full second, Tyler stands frozen, a man suspended between entitlement and fear. Then, something in him breaks, not quietly, not gracefully, but with the sharp, chaotic energy of a cornered animal lashing out at the walls closing in. He slams his palm onto the podium. The sound cracks through the courtroom like a gunshot. The gallery jolts. Luis instinctively steps back. The bailiff subtly shifts his weight forward, ready. Tyler's voice erupts. You're all acting like I'm some criminal. I didn't do anything wrong. He jabs a finger at Luis, blew this way out of proportion just to get money. Luis flinches but doesn't back down. I just wanted my van fixed and to be treated like a human being. Tyler barks a humorless laugh. Oh, please, spare me. You people always... Judge Judy's hand snaps upward. Stop, right there. Her tone is ice wrapped in thunder. Even the bailiff stills as if pulled by her gravity. Mr. Dane, she continues, voice low, dangerous, choose your next words very carefully. But he doesn't. He can't. Pride has seized the wheel, and the brakes have long since failed. You think this matters? Tyler spits out. I could walk out right now. My dad could end this whole stupid show with one phone call. All of you. He gestures wildly. Every single one of you is beneath him, beneath me. A ripple of disbelief sweeps the courtroom. Even his friend in the gallery lowers his face into his hands. Judge Judy leans forward, elbows on the bench, a slow and deliberate movement that silences the entire room. Sit, she commands. Tyler doesn't move. Her gaze sharpens. Mr. Dane, sit down. The bailiff takes one measured step closer. Finally, Tyler drops into his seat, not because he chooses to, but because the room's collective judgment forces him into it. His breath is ragged, chest rising and falling like someone who's just realized how far they've fallen. Judge Judy studies him, her expression a blend of disappointment and clinical precision. That, she says, was not an outburst of frustration. That was an outburst of entitlement. She turns to Luis. Continue, please. But Luis doesn't need to. The story has already shifted. The courtroom no longer sees Tyler as a young man who made a mistake. They see him as someone who believes he's above the rules, until the rules catch him. Judy looks back at Tyler. Earlier, you said you merely tapped the truck. Do you still want to stand by that statement? He hesitates, a brief flickering moment where truth tries to break through habit. And then with a scoff dripping in stubborn pride, he mutters, maybe I nudged it a little harder than I said. So what? The gallery erupts, gasps, whispers, shock. It's not just an admission, it's the hole he's been digging finally collapsing on top of him. Judge Judy lifts her gavel. Thank you, she says, almost softly. That's all I needed. The gavel hovers midair, not striking, just held, as Judy prepares to lay out the consequences of his own words, and Tyler, for the first time all day, looks like he finally understands he's in real danger. The confession hangs in the air like smoke after an explosion, thick, undeniable, impossible to walk back. Tyler seems to hear it echoing in his own ears, as if someone else said it. But it was him, and Judge Judy is already turning that admission into a blade. The gavel lowers but doesn't strike. Instead, Judy rests it gently against the bench, a symbolic pause, the kind that comes before the turn in a storm. Let's review, she says, her voice steady, almost calm. You blocked a working man's vehicle. You threatened him. You damaged his property. And now, by your own words, you admit you struck the bumper with force, not a tap. Her tone carries the weight of inevitability. Tyler shifts in his seat, shoulders sagging as the realization creeps in. There is no escape hatch, No bad-shaped loophole that can stop what's unfolding. Luis gently sets his worn cap on the table, a quiet gesture, but the camera frames it like a symbol. A man who came here hoping only to be treated with fairness. And for the first time, Tyler looks at him not with disdain, but with something almost like recognition. "Your Honor," Luis says quietly, "I just wanted the truth to come out." Judy nods. "And it has." She turns her gaze back toward Tyler. "Do you understand what you've admitted today?" He opens his mouth, closes it, opens it again. The swagger that dominated his posture all morning is gone, replaced by a trembling uncertainty. "I didn't know it would get this big," he mutters. "It didn't get big," Judy replies. "You made it big when you decided rules didn't apply to you." A sharp breath pulls from the gallery, a collective acknowledgement of the turning tide. Then Judy begins laying out the case, not dramatically, not harshly, but with the clean precision of truth slicing through pretense. The signed admissions, the photographic evidence, the pattern of entitlement confirmed by Officer Caldwell, his own contradictory statements, and now his accidental confession. Each point lands like a gavel strike without the sound. Tyler's breathing grows shallow, shoulders curling inward as though trying to shrink away from consequences he once believed couldn't touch him. But the real shift happens when Luis speaks again, voice soft but steady. "I'm not here to ruin your life," he says, "but you scared me that day, and you didn't even care." The words cut deeper than any legal argument. Tyler flinches, visibly, as if hit. For a moment, silence thickens the air. Even Judy allows it, letting the emotional truth settle across the room. Then she inhales, ready to deliver her findings. But before she can speak, Tyler cuts her off, standing abruptly, chair scraping back with a violent screech. "This hearing is over," he shouts. The courtroom erupts in shock. The bailiff instantly steps forward. Judy's eyes narrow into lethal calm. Tyler's friend stands up horrified, mouthing, "Don't do this." Tyler's voice cracks as he points toward the door. "I'm not staying here another second." And then he freezes. Because two security officers are already entering the room, already positioned, already expecting him. One officer speaks quietly. "Mr. Dane, we need you to remain seated." Tyler realizes, too late, that Judy anticipated every bit of this meltdown before he even walked into the room. The moment the security officers stepped fully into the room, the temperature seemed to drop. Tyler, who moments ago roared like he owned the building, now stood frozen, caught between instinct, ego, and the unmistakable realization that he had finally lost control. "Mr. Dane," one officer repeats calmly, "stay seated." It's not a request, it's not a warning, it's a verdict. Tyler's chest rises and falls in sharp, uneven breaths. His eyes dart around the courtroom, searching, pleading, calculating. The friend in the gallery doesn't meet his gaze. Luis watches with quiet sorrow. Officer Caldwell stands steady, unmovable. "Judge Judy?" She hasn't flinched once. Judy folds her hands. "I strongly suggest you sit before you make this worse." Tyler's voice comes out thin, cracked at the edges. You set me up. This whole thing. You planned this." "No," Judy replies softly, "but I did prepare for your behavior." The gallery murmurs. Tyler looks physically struck. He sinks back down, the chair creaking under the force of his defeated weight. His arms wrap around the sides of the podium, not in anger this time, but as if he's holding on to something solid in a room that's collapsing around him. The officers don't move away. They stand just close enough to remind him that freedom of movement is a privilege he's rapidly losing. Judy lifts a new document. "This is your disciplinary record from prior complaints involving intimidation." Tyler's jaw drops. "How did you... That's confidential." "Not when the department itself submits it to the court," Judy replies. "It seems, Mr. Dane, that your father's colleagues have grown... weary." A ripple of quiet disbelief rolls through the crowd. Luis shifts, hands clasped together. "People get tired of being scared," he murmurs. Tyler's head snaps toward him. For a moment, rage flickers, the old arrogance trying to spark alive, but it dies quickly. He's too drained, too stunned, too exposed. Judy reads aloud, specific, damning. Each line chisels away at the image Tyler tried to carry into this courtroom. 3 warnings for aggressive conduct, 2 documented complaints from civilians, 1 reprimand for misuse of departmental reference. And each time, you were told the next incident would result in escalation. Tyler's breathing stutters. I didn't think they'd actually send that. That, Judy says, is the problem. He covers his face with his hands. A soft, muffled sound escapes him. Frustration, maybe fear, maybe the first break in a lifetime of unchecked privilege. Even the friend in the gallery who'd been silent through the storm whispers, "Ty, you need to stop." Judy lowers the file. "Mr. Dane, this isn't an attack. This is accountability, something you've avoided for too long." He looks up, eyes red. "I didn't mean for any of this to happen." "Intent," Judy replies, "does not erase impact." The room goes silent again, the kind of silence that arrives right before consequences crystallize. Judy lifts yet another page, a page Tyler hasn't seen. "Before I proceed," she says, "I need to read one more entry, and you may find this one illuminating. When someone insists they're untouchable, do you think it comes from real power or from deep insecurity?" When Judge Judy lifts the next sheet of paper, the room shifts again, not loudly, not visibly, but with the slow sinking weight of inevitability. Tyler senses it immediately. His spine straightens, his fingers curl. Something embraces the way a person does right before impact. Judy smooths the page with one hand. Her eyes scan the text, and for the first time all day, her expression flickers. Not anger, not surprise, but a sober, deliberate concern. "This," she says, lifting the document slightly, "is a report from your department outlining prior behavioral concerns." Tyler shakes his head instantly. "I told you already. Those were misunderstandings. People exaggerate." "Let's see," Judy replies. She begins to read. Incident 1. Mr. Dane attempted to leverage his father's position to resolve a parking dispute. The gallery murmurs. Tyler stammers. "That wasn't, I was just explaining." Incident 2. Mr. Dane confronted a civilian outside a grocery store, stating, "I can get you in trouble if you push this." Luis looks down, absorbing each line with quiet heartbreak. Incident 3. Mr. Dane attempted to influence officers responding to a late-night noise complaint by stating, "You know who my father is." A heavy silence follows. Not judgmental, not outraged, just sad. The kind of silence that forms around wasted potential and repeated harm. Tyler's mouth opens as if to protest, but nothing comes out. His confidence, already tattered, now visibly slumps off him like a costume too big for the boy beneath it. "This pattern," Judy says carefully, "paints a very concerning picture." Tyler whispers, "I was trying to impress people. I didn't mean anything by it." Judy's gaze sharpens, but her voice stays calm. "When you intimidate people, Mr. Dane, your intent matters far less than your impact. Fear has consequences." Luis nods slightly, as if those words speak directly to him. Officer Caldwell steps forward. "Your Honor, if I may, several deputies tried to mentor him. He brushed them off. He believed he couldn't be touched." Tyler swallows hard. His friend in the gallery shifts, guilt flashing across his face, though Tyler doesn't seem to notice. Judy turns back to the defendant. "This file did not come from someone trying to harm you. It came from people who hoped you would change, before the consequences escalated." Tyler looks stunned, as if the idea that anyone cared enough to intervene had never occurred to him. His voice trembles. "I didn't know they felt that way." "That," Judy says gently but firmly, "is precisely the problem." Luis speaks up, quiet but strong. "You scared me that day, and you laughed like it was nothing." Tyler's eyes flick toward him. For a moment, remorse tries to surface. Timid, uncertain, foreign, Judy leans forward. "Mr. Dane, this is the moment to tell the truth, the whole truth. Because right now, the evidence is painting a version of you that even you might not recognize." Tyler grips the podium, knuckles tight, eyes flickering with conflict. fear, shame, defensiveness, something almost like grief. He inhales to speak. Judge Judy raises a hand. Stop. Before you say anything, I want you to understand. The next words out of your mouth may define how this case and your future are judged. Tyler freezes, breath caught halfway between confession and denial. For a moment, Tyler stands in total stillness, the kind that comes before either surrender or self-destruction. His lips part, then close, then part again, as if the truth inside him is fighting its way out through years of denial. Judge Judy lowers her hand, giving him permission to speak. Tyler grips the podium so tightly his fingers tremble. His voice emerges low, unsteady. Okay, fine, I was angry. He wouldn't move. I was tired. I wanted to teach him a lesson. Luis exhales sharply, pain flickering across his face. Not shock, recognition. Tyler pushes on, words tumbling out. People don't talk to me like that. They never do. And when he told me to move my truck, I saw red. I'm used to people listening. Judy's expression doesn't soften, but it shifts from judicial to analytical, as if she's watching a wall crack open after years of pressure behind it. Go on, she says. I kicked the bumper hard, Tyler admits. Yeah, hard. I knew it would leave a dent. I didn't care. I thought he'd back off once he saw I wasn't playing. Luis looks down, a quiet hurt. Tyler runs a shaking hand through his hair. And I said that stuff, about my dad, about him not knowing who he was dealing with. I always say stuff like that, and it always works. There it is. The truth. Raw, unfiltered, self-incriminating. A ripple moves through the gallery. Shock, pity, disgust, empathy, a collage of reactions layered into one stunned silence. Tyler's voice drops to a whisper. But it didn't work this time, and I didn't know what to do. Judge Judy leans forward. Her tone is steady, not triumphant. Mr. Dane, do you understand what you've just admitted? Tyler nods weakly. I think so. You didn't simply damage property, Judy says. You abused perceived power. You used intimidation as a shield. That is far more serious than a dented bumper. His shoulders wilt. Luis finally speaks, his voice tight. You didn't just kick my van. You scared me. You made me feel small, and you enjoyed it. Tyler's eyes widen, not in defiance, but in dawning guilt, real guilt. I didn't enjoy it, he says. I just didn't think about how it felt for you. That, Judy says quietly, is the first honest thing you've said today. The courtroom holds its breath. Tyler sways slightly, the emotional weight pressing hard. And then, the breaking point. My dad doesn't even know about half the stuff I've done, he blurts. I kept messing up and somehow it always got brushed away. I thought it would happen again. The gallery erupts in whispers. Judy raises a hand, silencing them instantly. Who brushed it away? She asks. Tyler hesitates, looks toward his friend in the gallery. The friend goes still. And everything inside the courtroom shifts. Tyler's gaze locks onto his friend, betrayal dawning on his face, just as Judge Judy says, Mr. Dane, tell this court exactly who protected you. The friend's shoulders slump. The truth is seconds from detonating. The moment Tyler's eyes lock onto his friend, the courtroom feels colder. Not because anything physical changes, but because the truth, unspoken yet fully understood, hangs between them like a blade suspended by a fraying thread. His friend, Ethan, sits frozen in the gallery. Every line of his posture, the lowered head, the rigid shoulders, the hollow stare, tells the story before he even opens his mouth. Tyler chokes out, "It was you, wasn't it?" Ethan doesn't answer. He doesn't have to. Judge Judy folds her hands atop the bench. Mr. Dane, you may continue. But Tyler isn't looking at her anymore. His world has narrowed to one person, the last person he thought would betray him and the first person who ever enabled him. You talked to my dad, Tyler says, voice cracking. You told him not to discipline me. You covered for me. Why would you do that? Ethan finally stands, trembling. Because I thought I was helping you. I thought if things didn't get too bad, you'd eventually change on your own. Tyler stares at him, devastated. You lied to him for me. All those warnings, all those chances. You were the reason they didn't go anywhere. Ethan nods painfully. I did it because you're my friend, and I thought shielding you was loyalty. Judy interjects softly. Enabling is not loyalty. It is permission. Ethan looks at her, then at Tyler. I kept thinking one day you'd wake up and realize you couldn't keep treating people like this, but you never did. And the more I covered for you, the worse you got. Tyler's anger rises, but it's hollow, wounded, not raging. So you decided to expose me now? No, Ethan says. I told the department weeks ago that I wasn't covering anything else, and when I saw the notice that this case was going on TV, I realized this might be the only place you'd actually listen. The courtroom shifts, not with judgment, but with a sad collective understanding. The lighting seems softer now, shadows lengthening across Tyler's defeat. Luis watches, caught between empathy and the lingering ache of what he endured. Even Officer Caldwell's expression gentles, though her stance remains firm. Tyler sinks into his seat, his voice barely audible. I trusted you. Ethan's reply comes softly, torn from somewhere deep. I trusted you too. Judge Judy lets the silence linger, not uncomfortable, but necessary. It sits heavy, like the settling dust after a long dormant structure finally collapses. Then she speaks. Mr. Dane, she says, her voice clear, your actions caused harm, but today you're seeing the consequences of more than just a damaged bumper. You're seeing the cost of unchecked behavior on yourself and on the people who cared for you. Tyler wipes his eyes quickly, embarrassed. I didn't mean to drag everyone into this, Luis answers quietly. Impact over intent, remember? Tyler nods, broken. Judy picks up a new document, a clean sheet, fresh ink. This, she says, is the statement you refused to sign before today's hearing. Tyler stiffens. Judy extends the paper toward the bailiff. Bring this to Mr. Dane. Now that he understands the weight of his actions, let's see whether he's ready to acknowledge them formally. The bailiff's footsteps echo like a slow drumbeat as he carries the document toward Tyler. Every step feels heavier than the last, not because of paper, but because of the weight of acknowledgement Tyler spent years running from. The statement lands in front of him with a quiet thud. Tyler stares at it as though it's something alive, something that might bite if he touches it. His fingers hover above the page, trembling. Judge Judy's voice slices through the moment. You refused to sign this earlier because you claimed you did nothing wrong. The words hit with surgical precision. Luis watches him, not triumphant, but hopeful. Hopeful that the truth might finally be enough. Tyler lets out a shaky breath. Can I read it again? Read it, Judy says. Out loud. He swallows, eyes scanning the first lines. I acknowledge that my actions toward the plaintiff were deliberate. His voice falters. Ethan's eyes drop. And that I used my father's position to intimidate him. A soft, collective inhale moves through the gallery. Tyler continues, each word carving deeper into the brittle shell he brought into this courtroom. I accept responsibility for causing damage to the plaintiff's vehicle, and for creating a threat that was both unnecessary and unjustified. He reaches the signature line, the blank space that represents a choice he's never had to make before. Mr. Dane, Judy says, do you agree with every statement written there? Tyler's eyes are wet again, but he nods. Yes. Judy doesn't look away. And do you accept the consequences of your actions? A long pause, a breath. A small, broken, yes. Luis closes his eyes, relief washing through him. The moment feels heavier than victory, richer, more human. Ethan watches too, a complicated swirl of guilt and hope passing through his expression. Then sign it, Judy instructs. Tyler picks up the pen. His hand shakes so violently the tip scratches the page. He adjusts, breathes, then slowly writes his name in the space he once refused to acknowledge. The camera lingers on the signature, dark ink settling into the fibers of the paper like truth finally taking root. When he's done, Tyler sets the pen down and lets out a long, trembling exhale. For the first time today, he does not look defiant, or angry, or entitled. He looks human. Judge Judy nods once, a gesture of recognition, not approval. This is the first step. Accountability begins with honesty, even when it arrives late. She folds the document, taps it neatly on the bench, then sets it aside. But now, she continues, we must address restitution. Louise straightens slightly, the practical, necessary part of justice drawing near. Tyler tenses. What happens now? Judy leans forward, eyes sharp but no longer cold. Now we quantify the damage you caused, financially and otherwise. The courtroom shifts again, not with drama, but with purpose. Judy lifts the repair invoices, the photos, the work records. Mr. Dane, she says, it's time to pay what you owe, in full. Judge Judy lifts the stack of invoices and photographs with the same precision a surgeon might use to lift a scalpel. The moment she does, the room shifts, no longer tense with anticipation, but steady with the inevitability of closure. She spreads the documents across the bench in a clean, methodical line. Mr. Herrera, she says, your repair costs total $1,842. Your lost wages for the 2 days your van was in the shop come to $416. Combined, your damages amount to $2,058. Luis nods, calm, composed. He didn't come for revenge, just fairness, and the tone of his posture says he finally feels close to it. Tyler, on the other hand, sits rigid, the exhaustion of the day pulling at his frame. When Judy states the number aloud, he flinches as if struck. She turns her gaze toward him. Mr. Dane, do you contest these amounts? A long beat passes. Tyler's throat works, but no arrogance rises to save him. No swagger returns to shield him. He shakes his head. No, Your Honor, I don't contest anything. The gallery reacts with a soft ripple, surprised at how far he has fallen, and how quietly he accepts it now. Judy nods once. Good. Because you caused measurable harm, and measurable harm requires measurable compensation. She taps the invoices lightly. But financial restitution is only one part of this case. Tyler looks up, fear tightening his features again. What? What do you mean? Your behavior, she replies, created more than a dented bumper. It created fear, disrespect, and an abuse of perceived authority. That type of conduct cannot go unaddressed. Tyler lowers his head. I understand. Judy's tone shifts, not cruel, not harsh, but firm with purpose. You have spent years believing your father's position protected you. Today you learned that protection was an illusion, and a dangerous one. Luis watches him, expression softened by something unexpected. Empathy. He says quietly, I hope this helps you, not just me. Tyler looks at him with a kind of stunned humility. I'm sorry, he whispers. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's simply real. Judy lets the silence settle, then places the final document before her. This judgment will be recorded. You will pay the plaintiff $2,058, and I strongly recommend, she adds, eyes narrowing ever so slightly, that you reconsider how you treat people moving forward. The world does not bend because of who your father is, and neither will this courtroom. Tyler nods again, tears threatening but unshed. Ethan watches with a mixture of relief and grief, as if witnessing a necessary but painful surgery. The bailiff steps closer, sensing Judy's shift toward finality. The courtroom's atmosphere has changed, no longer a battleground, but a place where the consequences have solidified and the lesson has taken form. Judge Judy raises her gavel, her voice steady and final. For the safety and order of this courtroom, Mr. Dane, you will remain seated until dismissed. 2 security officers take a step forward, and Tyler realizes the reckoning isn't quite over yet. If you stood in Tyler's shoes at this moment, would this be the wake-up call you needed, or would you still try to walk out untouched? The gavel drops with a crisp finality, echoing through the courtroom like the closing note of a long, turbulent symphony. Tyler jolts at the sound, not because of the volume, but because of what it represents. The last shield, the last excuse, gone. Judge Judy sets the gavel aside and looks directly at him. Mr. Dane, your behavior today demonstrated volatility and disregard for courtroom procedure. As such, you will be escorted out for the safety and order of these proceedings. Tyler's breath stutters. He glances at the officers already flanking him, their posture firm but not hostile. He looks for the first time, not angry or arrogant, but young, lost, stripped of every illusion he carried in with him. "Please," he says hoarsely, "can I at least leave on my own?" Judy's head shakes once. "You forfeited that choice when you tried to walk out earlier. You created this consequence, and now you will honor it." Luis stands still, watching with a solemn empathy. He doesn't smile. He doesn't gloat. If anything, he looks like a man witnessing a storm finally break, relieved but sobered by its aftermath. Ethan rises from his seat in the gallery, guilt pulling his shoulders forward. "Ty, I didn't want it to end like this." Tyler swallows, eyes darting away. "I know," he whispers. "I just thought I could control it, like always." "Control," Judy says, voice steady, "is not power when used to harm others. It becomes a cage. And today, that cage closed around you." The officers nod subtly, positioned on either side of Tyler. He stands slowly, the scrape of the chair legs ringing sharp across the hushed courtroom. Luis steps back respectfully, giving him space. Ethan's eyes shine with remorse. Tyler looks at Luis first, not to argue, not to defend himself, but to offer something rare for him, sincerity. "I'm sorry," he says, "for everything. You didn't deserve any of it." Luis nods. "Thank you. That means more than you think." The officers guide Tyler toward the exit. His steps are small at first, almost hesitant. The swagger is long gone. His shoulders no longer push the air aside. Now they carry its weight. As they reach the rear doors, he pauses, just for a second, and looks back toward the bench. Judge Judy meets his gaze, not with triumph, but with the firm, unwavering truth she brought into the room from the very beginning. "Mr. Dane," she says quietly, "today was not about punishing you. It was about stopping the harm you kept passing on to others. If you choose to learn from this, it may yet be the day your life changes direction." Tyler absorbs the words like someone hearing them through water, heavy, slow, but penetrating. Then the officers gently guide him through the doors. They close behind him with a solid, echoing thud. The courtroom exhales. Judge Judy turns to Luis, her tone softening. "Judgment is entered in your favor. I hope this brings you peace." Luis nods, the weight finally lifting from his shoulders. "It does, Your Honor. Thank you." Judy's gaze lingers a moment longer. "Justice," she says, almost to herself, "isn't about power. It's about truth finding its way through." The camera pulls back, wide shot of the courtroom settling into stillness, the storm now past.